Welcome to the Kanchoo screencast. Thanks for watching. So what you see here is the first screen after logging into your account. I'm going to start by clicking into Stories to get my story pool. And as you can see, it's totally empty. So the first thing I want to do is to add a story by clicking on this plus sign. And I get the story creation form. It's very similar to any other story creation form you've seen in other content management systems. I need to input a title or headline, a slug, which is a news industry term for keeping track of stories. I need an author or byline. I need to input an abstract or subhead. And then finally, I input the content for my story. There's also the familiar WYSIWYG options for doing things like bolding or creating hyperlinks. There are some additional fields up here for timestamping your article, and you can save it in draft or published form. And now I want to save my article, which takes me back to the story pool. Okay, so now I have my first story in the story pool. There's a preview that comes up on the right, and if you'll notice, the story is slightly shaded in gray, which means it's still in draft form and won't be visible to my audience. So now I want to go back and change it to published, and I can do that by clicking on the story headline and changing from draft to published and saving again. Now the story is shaded in white instead of gray. But this story is still not visible to my audience. To make it visible, I need to assign it to a feed. So the next thing I'm going to do is to create a feed. And I'll click on Feeds, and I get the feed creation form. The title field is the name of the feed, and this is visible to your audience. There's also an option for selecting story or photo feed. In this case, I'm going to create a story feed. I then need to decide how many stories can appear in the feed, and then I need to choose an icon to represent the feed. Once I click Save, I've created my feed. So my home feed now appears in the Feeds box, and to assign a story to this feed, I just click on the name. That opens up my story pool and my list of available stories. I just have the one story at the moment. So I'm going to highlight that and move it across. And then I'm going to click Save to save my changes. The story is now assigned to a feed and available for viewing in my application. This is what my app looks like to my audience, with one feed created and one story assigned to that feed.